During the January transfer window, there's always a lot of rumours and we all end up believing different things. And that's okay, that's normal. Essentially, it's just educated guesses. None of us truly know. It's educated guesses based on the rumours we consume. It depends on who you believe. Do you have trusted journalists? Do you have trusted in the knows? And that will vary from fan to fan. Your beliefs will be different to mine. The guy that clicked on this video directly after you will have a different opinion to you and I, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's good. It's healthy. But it all depends on where you go for your news. Who do you listen to? And as a result, you come up with your own opinions and conclusions. But based on my opinions on the January transfer window and what happened, or didn't happen rather, that's what this video is based on. It's based on what I believe about the January transfer window. And my summary essentially is that David Sullivan reminded everybody at West Ham, whether that be David Moyes, Tim Steidten, the fan base, that he's still the top dog at the club. Am I surprised? No. But that doesn't mean I can't be annoyed about it. I am not surprised. In fact, I was expecting this to happen to some extent. But I'm still disappointed it happened. Because I felt like we've taken a few steps forward off the pitch at West Ham over recent months. But I felt like the January transfer window, that 1 month, was actually one big step backwards. And the person taking that step backwards, I believe, was David Sullivan. Now there's two aspects to this video. There's the January transfer window and Tim Steidten. Then there's the other aspect which is potentially replacing David Moyes. Now this isn't about getting rid of Moyes. It's not a Moyes out video. It's essentially it's an anti-David Sullivan video rather than an anti-Moyes video. It's the hypothetical. If we had to replace David Moyes, I just don't trust this guy to do it. I don't trust West Ham replacing David Moyes, and it's because of David Sullivan. In the January transfer window was that final nail in the coffin. I say that I've been waiting for. I haven't been. I was hoping not to get it. It's the final nail in the coffin that I've been expecting. And I do not like that one bit. That's what we're going to be discussing today. But before we get into it, if you're new around here, please do subscribe. It's completely free. It takes 2 seconds as well. And do drop a like on the video by clicking the thumbs up. Now, first of all, we're going to start with the Tim Steidten aspect of it. Because I believe, and like I said, this goes back to the start of the video, it all depends on what you believe. I believe we did want Ibrahim Osman. And that we did bid for him. And that Tim Steidten was negotiating with the wrong agent. That's what I believe. And the reason I've come to that conclusion is, first of all, we've got ex-West Ham employee. I think X are really good in the know. I trust his news. You don't have to. I'm not saying you have to. I do. So when I spoke to X on this channel and asked him about Ibrahim Osman, and X said he's our #1 target. And I've said it before, and this will be the last time I say it, I promise you. That's rare. For a journalist or an in the know to nail their colours to the mast like that is rare. It's usually we have an interest in, we're monitoring the situation. Or usually it's very loose phrases. That means if we signed them, they were correct. But if we don't sign them, they're also correct because he never said we were going to bid. We were just interested in them. It might happen, might not. Well, it's 100% success rate guaranteed. So when an in the know says that is our #1 transfer target, I find that to be quite a bold statement. It makes me listen. I pay attention. I believe it because it's from ex-West Ham employee as well. So I believed, off the back of that, and I was comfortable believing, I still do believe this, that Ibrahim Osman was our #1 target in the January transfer window. Ex-West Ham employee also said that Tim Steidten and David Moyes and Mark Noble all like him. They all want him. I actually think that they all liked Mohamed Kudus and they all liked Edson Alvarez. I think 2 of the 3 might have liked James Ward-Prowse, and maybe 2 of the 3 might have liked Konstantinos Mavpanos. So in the summer transfer window, I don't think it was just one person liked one player and they all got a player each or something. I actually think, I wouldn't be surprised if all 3 of them liked the 2 players we signed from Ajax. I find it difficult to not believe that, truth be told, because there's rumours Mark Noble was the one that initially wanted them, that David Moyes was happy with them, Tim Steidten did the negotiating. I get the feeling all 3 were on board with both signings. And that's good, that's what I want to see. So when I heard this from X, I was encouraged. Oh, brilliant. All 3 main guys at the club, bar 1, but the 3 under David Sullivan all want the same player. This is good. This is healthy. So I believed that. And then later on, the rumours came out regarding the negotiations, which was West Ham were close to agreeing a deal with the club. West Ham are close to agreeing personal terms. The player himself was posting cryptic messages on social media with a time sander. That would, to me, would indicate he's expecting a move. that he thinks something big's way to happen soon. He's teasing his followers. Hey, keep an eye on me, Ibrahim Osman. Something's happening over here. We all know what was happening. There was stuff coming out from all angles. Now, while a lot of this is opinionated and it goes back to what you believe in, there's also facts in this. And there's two in particular that stood out for me. One, Fabrizio Romano did a tweet saying that everything was done between the player. The player had agreed personal terms with West Ham, but the agent was also happy. The agent had also agreed everything with West Ham. It was now down to the two clubs to negotiate a fee, but the player side of it, everything was agreed. Fabrizio Romano's a really good, reliable journalist, the biggest journalist in football, I think. I'd imagine, I don't know, I'd imagine you looked at their social media followers, I'd imagine Fabrizio Romano is number one by quite some distance as well. He's really reliable. And I think there's enough evidence to suggest that Fabrizio Romano's source at West Ham, and again, I'm not saying this bit's the fact, the tweet is the fact, this bit is my opinion. Fabrizio Romano's source is Tim Steidten. That's my opinion. Because when Steidten arrived at West Ham, or should I say hadn't arrived at West Ham, there was only one man claiming it was a done deal, Romano. There was only one man naming Tim Steidten, Romano. And when other people close to West Ham said, no, it's not done yet, Fabrizio Romano said, it is. It's done. It is done. Tim Steidten is the new sporting director of West Ham. Nobody else was reporting it bar Fabrizio Romano. Bold. I'll go back to what I said about extra. That's bold. This is the man that called out Brighton about Marc Cucurella going to Chelsea and won. Brighton, it's the media team, but Brighton said, this rumour is rubbish. And going not long after, Fabrizio Romano won Brighton 0 about a Brighton player. Anyway, Romano's reliable. He said the agent and the thing is done. And then there's the other fact. The Danish, not the Norwegian, the Danish FA, there's quotes from the Danish FA regarding informing West Ham that they were dealing with the wrong agent. They should have been dealing with Daniel Powell, but instead they were dealing with Mitch something, Belgian surname. I can't pronounce it, that's why. Mitch something, he's Belgian. Daniel Powell, easier to pronounce, English person. The Danish FA said West Ham are dealing with the wrong agent. As far as I'm concerned, that's pretty reliable. If you think the Ibrahim Osman rumour wasn't true, you have to then also accept that you're accusing the Danish FA of lying. And I think that's a bolder thing to say than ex-West Ham employees saying that that's our number one target. So I think there's enough evidence to suggest that we did want Ibrahim Osman and we were dealing with the wrong agent. Now that to me is on Tim Steidten. That is Steidten's fault and it's a rookie error. Now I was expecting teething problems with Tim Steidten. I think I'm being kind to say it's a teething problem. It's a bit of an embarrassment, really. Imagine being a sporting director, you're negotiating with the wrong agent. That is pretty high up on the embarrassment factor, right? You can't get much worse than that. It's about like going to a club and asking to buy the player they've got on loan. As if David Sullivan would ever do something like that. But anyway, it's quite high up. So that's bad on Tim Steidten. However, I do think you can rectify it pretty quickly and pretty easily. As soon as the Danish FA tell you you're negotiating with the wrong agent, this is the right one, it becomes quite obvious how to fix this. And I would imagine it's quite simple. The player wants to come. All you have to do is negotiate with that person instead of this person. Now, those two might have a dispute. The two agents might have an argument. They can settle it. Now, I appreciate because of the old Carlos Tevez thing that we might be getting a bit of PTSD here. I mean, it's not something we want to get involved in. But could we rectify it? I imagine the answer is yes. Brighton, knowing what had gone on between West Ham and Ibrahim Osman, Brighton still got involved in the bidding. They still made a bid knowing what was happening. So they were obviously confident they could get around the agent issue as well. So I think we could have done. And I think there would have been a desire to from 3 people at West Ham. Mark Noble, David Moyes and Tim Steidten. My issue is, I'm not sure that desire was there from one man in particular, and we're going to talk about him. But before we do, it's time to talk about Manscaped. Gentlemen, it's Valentine's Day very soon, 14th of February. Not that you forgot, I just thought I'd remind you, you've got a week to get something sorted. Get the card, get the flowers, get the chocolate, but you also need to make sure you've got something to get yourself sorted, and that's where we're pointing in the direction of Manscaped. And because it's Valentine's Day, we're going to show a little bit of love to you and give you 20% off everything on their website. All you have to do is use the code HammersChat, and the best thing is Manscaped will ship membership worldwide for free. So whether you're in Denmark, Norway, Hollandish or Stratford upon Avon, it doesn't matter. Manscaped will ship it to you with free worldwide delivery. Head on over there and get the Lawnmower 5, not just the Lawnmower 4 anymore, it's the Lawnmower 5. It's a new and improved pube trimmer which comes with interchangeable heads, and we all love a good head, don't we? Now, it might all be about the 14th of March for the gentlemen, but doesn't mean the ladies don't like the 14th of February. So get yourself ready, because let's face it, you've done the graft, you've done the hard bit, you've got it, it's all ready, you're ready to get a little bit lucky. The last thing the women want to see is an ungroomed penis on Valentine's Day. They don't want to see it. So get over to Manscaped, get the Lawnmower 5, get trimming down below, get ready for Valentine's Day, and good luck if you get lucky. Now, from that tool to talking about this one, David Sullivan. This is where I think he has a decision to make, because, again, it goes back to what you believe. He's apparently now got an agent, someone he trusts, someone that David Sullivan has used many times, someone that has helped West Ham in the negotiations to bring Lucas Paqueta and Thomas Souček, amongst others, to the football club. He has been involved in these deals. So Sullivan has a level of trust with this person. He's in his ear suggesting that Ibrahim Osman ain't worth the money. In fact, that we should be looking at Jota. Jota would be worth the money. Someone that he can help bring in to West Ham United. Funnily enough, isn't it? You can get involved in the Jota one, not the Osman one, so he feels that Jota's maybe... But anyway, I believe that someone's now in Sullivan's ear. Someone's in Sullivan... That's it. Someone is in Sullivan's ear, discouraging the Osman deal. And with the agent stuff, and it's quite a hefty price tag. 18 million, whatever, the price tag changes, let's just call it 18 million, down the middle, quite high, 18 million. And I think Sullivan bottles it. I believe Sullivan's absolutely bottled this, because I think he had to decide whether to back Tim Steidten or not, and he got cold feet about paying a lot of money for an unknown player. Now, I am not going to say Osman is worth that much money. I do not know, I'd never heard of him. Until ex-West Ham employee had mentioned him, I never heard of Ibrahim Osman ever. And if we don't sign him or he doesn't join Brighton or someone, I'll probably never hear of him again. I'm not looking out for him. I don't know him. Is he worth 80 million? I do not know. That's not disappointed me. What has disappointed me is not backing Tim Steidten. In this summer, I was almost surprised at how smoothly, without the help of Manscaped, how smoothly our transfer window went. Was it perfect? No. We could have done with 8 other players. I think Steidten made an error going to Brazil at the end of the transfer window, banking on getting somebody. We didn't get him. It's not the end of the world. No club has a perfect transfer window. No club gets every transfer right. We've just signed Kalvin Phillips, who was a flop at Manchester City. Liverpool make mistakes. Chelsea make a whole host of them. Look at Man United with Anthony Mason-Mount. Every club makes errors. Even Brighton and Brentford make mistakes, despite their plaudits and deserved plaudits. Everyone makes mistakes. But I look back at the window with the benefit of hindsight, which is always a nice thing to have. They've done fine. Our signings have done fine at worst. Ward-Prowse has been fine. Alvarez has been fantastic. Kudus is a superstar. And I think Mavropanos has been okay. I'm still waiting. I haven't really formed an opinion of him. Some games he looks really good. Some games he looks pretty poor. I don't know yet. But he's been okay. It's an okay signing. I haven't really judged it. It's okay. But I felt that despite all the rumours about how Steidten and Moyes wasn't getting along, I thought we came out the transfer window looking pretty good. So it gave me hope going into this one that Moyes and Steidten have now built up a relationship. And I come out the January transfer window thinking they might have done, actually. David Moyes wanted Kalvin Phillips. We went and got Kalvin Phillips. There you go. There you go, Gaffer. There's the you want Kalvin Phillips? There's Kalvin Phillips for you. Have him. That is good. Having a sporting director that goes and gets or helps or signs off whatever allows. Let's just say Steidten didn't like it. We just let it happen. If Steidten hated the idea of Kalvin Phillips, but having a sporting director that's willing to put his own personal feelings to one side to allow the manager to get one of his main targets, that's a healthy thing. I think the balance of the summer transfer window was healthy. Ward-Prowse is Moyes' number one target. Karen Brady's confirmed that. It's no surprise. So the manager gets his number one target, and then we do other business as well. I think it's a good balance. So the January transfer window, Phillips come in. I thought this is good. Manager's got his number one player. Now it's time for Steidten to go get his number one player. He didn't, and I don't blame Moyes. And I think it's quite funny actually. In the summer we worried / believed suspected, whatever, that even if you didn't believe it, there was rumours that Moyes was being a barrier to Tim Steidten. Moyes was reluctant for Tim Steidten to have any say in the transfer window. Well, actually, come January transfer window, it's bloody David Sullivan and it's the barrier to Tim Steidten doing anything. Sullivan essentially has hired Tim Steidten to identify upcoming players we've never heard of, and is now blocking Tim Steidten from signing upcoming young players we've never heard of. I go back to the summer, signing Kudus and Alvarez and Mavropanos. That's not what I'm waiting for from Steidten. I'm assuming you've heard of Mohamed Kudus before we signed him. Even if you hadn't, if I said to you, go find a really good right winger in European football, you'd come back with Kudus. You would. An hour on Google. It's not difficult. Alvarez, he's not difficult. The proof is in the pudding. You want to go back, you want to really prove, I wouldn't do this. You can go back to before Tim Steidten was even at West Ham. We were linked to Edson Alvarez. I did a video saying this would be a coup for us. He's a really good defensive midfielder. He'd be fantastic for us. It's not... People knew about Alvarez and Kudus. That is nothing special. That doesn't require the Pearl Diver. That's his nickname. His nickname, Pearl Diver. That's not pearl diving. That's just picking the obvious player from Hollandish. It's not difficult. Now, just Hollandish is a Hamish chat joke, alright? Just, if you don't get it, it's fine. But if you do, hopefully you enjoyed it. Anyway, I've been waiting for Tim Steidten to bring these unknowns to West Ham that I've never heard of, that I can get excited to see develop at West Ham. And Osman was one of them. I was getting excited about the possibility of Tim Steidten doing some pearl diving at West Ham. But he couldn't. Because David Sullivan essentially employed Tim Steidten to bring in players that he doesn't know about. Steidten finds a player that David Sullivan doesn't know about. And Sullivan bottled it. He absolutely bottled it. And when Steiden's being linked to Liverpool at the minute, and I see some people suggest that, well, if Moyes stays, he's going to go. I don't believe that. I think if Moyes signs a new contract, Liverpool don't want Steidten. I think Steidten will be here next season as well. Steidten brought in, well, Hans is definitely a West Ham employee. Whether his brothers joined or not, I don't know. But the rumours were Hans and Steidten were coming. Steidten, Mortimitz, is that his name? Maximilian Hans, and is it Mortimitz? I don't know how you say it. It's clearly. Anyway, Steiden's younger brother is coming too. You don't do that if you're going to walk out in 3 months because the manager's got a new deal. You don't do that. I think Moyes and Steidten will be here next season. But I'll tell you what, while I don't believe Moyes signing a new deal would encourage Steidten to potentially go to Liverpool, which, by the way, if Liverpool come in, I think he goes regardless of Moyes and stuff. Liverpool come knocking, you answer that door, right? But Moyes' new contract won't be the thing that pushes Steidten to the door, in my opinion. It's David bloody Sullivan. He's the one that would push Steidten to the door. Because if I'm the sporting director and I'm not allowed to bring in the players, which is what my job is, because the guy above me won't sign the cheque, I'm beginning to think it's a bit pointless. I'm beginning to think, well, why am I here then? To bring in players like Kudus? What's the point in that? Mark Noble could bring in Mohamed Kudus. He could. Steidten is brought in to oversee the scouting department and identify players to bring to West Ham and, as it looks like, head the negotiations, which is fantastic. But one thing Tim Steidten doesn't do is sign the cheques at West Ham. That is David Sullivan. And if he ain't signing them, Tim Steiden's job gets 10 times harder. Anyway, I was going to talk about the potential manager thing. I'll maybe deal with that tomorrow or something. It's not that big, actually. The Sullivan thing, yeah, I'll deal with it tomorrow. Right, anyway, if you enjoyed this video somehow, please do drop a like on it by clicking the thumbs up. I feel a bit better having that rant about David Sullivan off my chest. The rest of the season, by the way, if we fail, while the finger will get pointed at David Moyes, and understandably so. Actually, I think you want to pick up your other finger, and while you're pointing one at David Moyes, I think you should point one at David Sullivan as well and say, you caused this. You've caused Moyes to have one hand tied behind his back to some extent, because we can all have a debate about the football being boring. I get it, I agree, but right now we're 7th in the league. Yes, okay, we're looking over our shoulders rather than up, but we're still 7th in the league. We were 6th in the league going into the January transfer window. The opportunity to strengthen was there. Moyes had got us there. Moyes is showing that even if football's crap, he can still get results with this crop of players. Strengthen the squad, and you don't know, he might be able to just keep us where we are. That's all he has to do, keep us where we are. Stay 6th. Well, I believe we've come out of the January transfer window weaker than we were when we went in it. I don't blame Moyes for that. And I'm very reluctant to blame Tim Steidten. Actually, I don't. I don't blame Steidten for that at all. I don't blame Moyes or Steidten. I blame one man, David Sullivan. I'm off. I'll catch you tomorrow.